One day, I'm going to be talking to my therapist about the speed and ferocity with which I can knock out a season of television, and he's going to be concerned about me. I'm not even kind of joking. I finished season 2 of Homeland so recently that for a frame of reference, I have not started editing that other video yet. I haven't even gotten to it. I've been working on other things. I will concede, it was the weekend the entire time. I finished season 1 of Homeland on a Friday night, and season 2 of Homeland on a Friday night, and season 3 on a Sunday night, but even so, I feel like that is a concerning speed with which I've knocked out an entire critically acclaimed season of television. Either way though, we're here now. I finished season 3 of Homeland and I've returned to you all to once again rank the characters, which means I must warn you of two things. One, spoilers, this show's a decade old. At this point, if you haven't seen it, that's on you. I would recommend it. Season 3 is not as good as seasons 1 or 2 in my opinion, but it is still quite good. Also, opinions going forward. This is a ranking video, meaning they're ranked based off my thoughts and feelings. And you can have different thoughts and feelings about these various characters. Alrighty, cool. I have a laptop in my lap. Here is my screen. Here are my tiers. There are a surprising number of characters on this tier list already. These are the characters who are actually all dead. Now that I'm looking at the... Actually, no, she's alive. But primarily dead. They're the characters that aren't in season 3. If they show up again, we'll take them out and we'll re-rank them. I don't want to re-rank them. So they're in here. But let's go over the tiers, okay? Bottom tier, please die. These are the characters that I can't stand, that I hate, that I need off the show. The tolerable tier are the characters where I understand why they're here. I can accept their presence. I just don't really feel anything about them. Then there's the I like them tier. These are, general positive vibes. They're the characters I enjoy, characters I like. They go in the I like them tier. The I bit iconic tier. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. The a bit iconic tier. It's for characters that I really enjoy, but aren't quite the top tier. Like, I have some beef with them, maybe, or maybe they just don't compel me in the way that I would like. Top tier is everything I want, right? Like, you're interesting, I like you, you compel me. It's for the great characters. Let's also very quickly go through the characters on the tier list already. Will be speedy. Top tier, Roya. She, I assume, is in prison somewhere. She was caught for being a terrorist. She's mainly up there because I think she's really very pretty. So, she also had some good scenes in season 2. I don't know what she's up to, presumably jail. Then we have Cynthia Walden, wife of the late vice president. I really liked her. She'd made me crave a show about the first lady of the United States that's basically a socialite drama. I want that now. Next, Abu Nazir, terrorist kingpin, killed via CIA assassination at some point. He got caught doing something. Oh, he got caught after kidnapping Carrie. That's what his lore is. He got caught. He's dead. He compelled me greatly. He also shows up in one scene as a flashback, and we meet his widow. She's not on this tier list. Next, Vice President Walden. He amused me more than anything else because he seemed very involved for a man whose job, as far as I'm aware, primarily involves being alive and doing nothing else. But he amused me. Then down here we have David Estes. Was he the director of the CIA? I believe so, but it's not actually clear to me now that I think about it. He's dead. He died in a bombing. As did Cynthia. As did Timothy Chalamet's Finn Walden. I hated him. I'm not going to get into it, but I hated him, and I'm glad he's dead. Okay, fallen and jailed characters aside, starting us off is Mike. I like Mike, mainly for season 2, more than anything else. I'm assuming he's gone, because I know the actor from The Blacklist, which began airing in 2015, I believe. And I know he's in that, and I can't imagine he had time to do both. I believe, actually, that whole clan, the Brody side of the story is done now, but we'll get to it. Either way, I like him. He seemed like a good surrogate dad. He had good moments. Next, we had Farah, a Finn queen. I have a degree in accounting. I love a good financial analysis, and that was her vibe. She was a bit iconic to me. I did greatly enjoy her. There's a few things I wish we explored more with her that I think she would have been a really good surrogate for. First, I wish we explored more the concept of being an observant Muslim in the CIA during this era. That could have been a really interesting thing to explore in this show. I wish they did better with it. They had one scene where they kind of got into it, but even then, they didn't really do it. So, like, I wanted more of that. I also just want more of her in general. She seemed like a really compelling character, and then immediately disappeared. Like, completely out of the show. I don't know what she's up to. I hope we get more of her. I don't actually know. But I liked her. She was a bit iconic. Next, we have Chris Brody. I liked him. He was a funny kid. My guy has barely done anything since season 1. I think he's in, like, a handful of scenes this season. And even then, he has, like, no lines in most of them. He's kind of just here for the vibes. I will say, puberty hit this actor like a train. And, like, he grew like a foot between seasons. And it was very... That's something that I love. I don't enjoy most child characters simply because child acting is very rarely on par with adult acting. However, my favorite thing about shows with, like, child characters is watching how much they dramatically age, usually between seasons. I did also watch the Percy Jackson show, where Walker, the guy who plays Percy, grew like a foot mid-filming, and made the viewing experience very amusing. That's the one thing child characters have going for me. Either way, he was a funny kid. I don't think we're ever going to see him again. Next we have Dar Adal. I think he's actually quite iconic. I really enjoy him. I think he's played very well by the actor, but also as a character he intrigues me. Apparently his whole thing is like, he's the sort of like very murderous, assassination-y side of the CIA, not to be confused with the spying side. He's the bloody side. And he intrigues me. I kind of want a spin-off about him. I think it would be very interesting. Oh, next we have Mira Berenson, wife of Saul Berenson. That's my girl. That's my queen. I love her. I love this actress, to be clear. I've seen her in, I think, 2 other things now. I really enjoy her as an actress, but also I enjoy her as a character. Okay, we haven't gotten to Saul yet, but spoilers, I do enjoy Saul. Saul is one of the most compelling characters in this show to me, and by extension, his estranged wife, who we barely met in season 1, had like 1 scene of in season 2, I liked her. She came back and she was like being interesting. It was very interesting to me. She compelled me greatly. I really, really liked her. Speaking of characters we met in season 1 and then I didn't put them on my tier list, we have Max, brother of Virgil. Last time I said that he was not important enough to be put on this tier list, and I stand by that. He isn't, but I like him. I like that man. He amuses me in a lot of ways. I find him funny. Him and his brother's status still does greatly confuse me, as from a legal standing, civilians who are contracted for surveillance purposes by the CIA. That part, I don't understand it. I never will, but I like him. Next is Leo, this season's love interest for Dana, and he's going with last season's love interest for Dana. I don't like him. I really don't. I have seen this actor in other things. Notably, he was in the Dynasty remake. I also think he looks kind of like Ezra Miller. That's a me thing. But I saw him in the Dynasty remake. I didn't like him there either. I assume he's talented, and I just hate the characters that he plays. But either way, I hated him. I think part of a big reason that I hated him was... Actually, let's talk about her now. Dana Brody, queen behavior. I didn't really like her in season 1. Season 2... excellence. Season 2, she was excellent, and season 3, she didn't do as much. She was not as relevant of a character, but what she did do was so compelling and interesting. The problem is, a lot of what she did in relation to her with this man, I hated. I hated them as a couple. I actually think, I'm not saying his existence made her a worse character. I'm not even saying that we didn't need him in the show. I think he did bring things to her and her character. The problem is, I don't like him. And he pissed me off, and she kept making bad choices. So, her this season, very good. Very excellent. Her breakdown, very understandable. I've always said I love a grief study. Usually I love my grief studies with a deceased character. However, hers was very interesting. She was very much like grieving the man she knew her father to be. It was very interesting. I think of the Brody family, by far the most compelling. Speaking of, Jessica Brody is tolerable. Honestly, I have nothing to say about her. She did nothing this season. She just kind of was a slightly overbearing mother who very understandably was trying to keep her life from falling to pieces. She didn't compel me that much. Nicholas Brody, I previously hated. I still kind of hate him. My big issue with him is his relationship with Carrie. I've never liked it. I still don't. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, him. This season was better for him than I think the first two, simply because he actually had beliefs this time in a way that he didn't. Nicholas Brody, one of the characters said it in this season, and I was like, you're so right. They were basically like, Nicholas Brody changes his belief system at the drop of a hat. He was surprisingly easy to be converted into a terrorist, surprisingly easily converted back to not a terrorist. Like, he changes his mind with such rapidness that I didn't like it for him. Season 3, he actually stuck to his beliefs the entire time, and we love that for him. We love consistency. The problem is he still annoyed me. He did. Various things he did just bothered me. I think it's just the fact that I already didn't like him. But either way, I was not a fan of Nicholas Brody, but I don't need him. Well, I would say he's dead. Like, he died in the finale, so, like, he's gone. We are ever slightly going to change the order. I'm doing Virgil next, because I have little to say about him. He's fine. His status confuses me. He was barely in this season. I honestly could have left him on the tier list, and it wouldn't have changed anything. Like, he's barely here. I am curious if he's still in the show, because there's a lot of characters that are from the last couple of seasons that I assume are being kicked off. Like, I assume we're never seeing the Brodies again, and by extension, Mike. So, like, I assume we're sort of switching into this new generation that has, like, Saul, Carrie, and Peter, like these three down here, as our sort of main characters now. I don't know. That's the vibes. Either way, Virgil's fine. Okay, Peter Quinn, a bit iconic, honestly. I was very intrigued by him in Season 2 more than anything else. I've accepted I'm never going to get exactly what I wanted out of him. I've learned to live with that, and I've learned to appreciate what he is, which is honestly kind of a ride or die. I believe him and Saul care more about Carrie than anyone else that she interacts with, including her family. Like, including her father and sister, who aren't on this tier list because they're barely in the show. But I think he actually does really care about her. I do think it's very funny that he shot her. To be fair, that was her fault. We'll get to it. But he intrigues me. He does seem to really actually, like, love is not the right word. He seems to care about her. He seems to want the best for her. I'm pretty sure he's still in the show going forward. I think I saw something about him being in Season 4, like, on Wikipedia. So I'm grateful for that, because I really like him as a character. Next, Carrie, the main character of this show. Now, previously I'd put her in Queen behavior. I'm dropping her down 2 entire tiers because she pissed me off this season. She, in fact, filled me with a lot of rage. I need her to just make better choices. I understand her whole thing, her whole shtick, is essentially she doesn't play by the rules. She's a CIA agent who's going to do whatever she wants. She doesn't play by the rules, but she gets results. I get that. The problem is she's objectively been very stupid this season. Like, again, she got shot by Peter because she was going to jeopardize the mission. She was right. However, so was everyone else, and they were, in fact, more right when they were like, girl, you need to stop. Like, we understand he's probably going to kill the bomber, and that is the only man who can exonerate Brody. We need this man alive. So, you need to move on, okay? You need to understand that we're not going to blow your cover. We're not going to blow his cover is not the right word. His shtick, I guess we'll call it. You need to stop. And most importantly, the way she handled her pregnancy violently enraged me. Like, that part actually pissed me off. What do you mean you know you're pregnant and are still heavily drinking, are still actively smoking cigarettes, are putting yourself on lithium for the bit? Not the bit, but like for work. What do you mean you're taking no care of this pregnancy? Abort the damn thing. I was sitting there the entire time. Every time her pregnancy came up, I was like, oh dear God, abort that damn thing. Get rid of that goddamn baby. Absolutely not. To be fair, she did realize this about herself. She's not in a place to be a mother. And I'm not saying she could never get there. I'm not saying she could never become a mother. Her current state is not one that is conducive to caring for a child. And I think it's okay. Like, I think she did the right thing by being like, I can't take care of this baby. I think she should have, you know my thoughts. I've made my thoughts clear. But I did appreciate that. Unfortunately, it was following a season of her making not just, like, bad choices. Because, like, Carrie's always made bad choices. We've established this. Carrie is always going to ignore every order she's given and is going to do whatever the fuck she wants. The problem is she made bad choices in regards to being pregnant, and that honestly really annoyed me. Anyway, final character is Saul Berenson. That's my dad. That's my father. That is my icon, and I would burn the world for him. I think he's fascinating. I am curious where they're going to go with him, because I know he's still in the show, because he's since gotten Emmy nominations for this show. So I know he's still in the show. I'm very curious how they're going to work him back in. I feel like it could honestly just be like a Carrie situation where she got fired and then they rehired him. I don't know. I don't care. As long as he's in the show, I'm happy because that's my father. He is probably the both best character and best acted character because Manny Patinkin is a god tier actor. I love everything about him. That's my man's. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. This has been my ranking of the characters in Homeland based off seasons 1 through 3. I've not seen anything else. I just finished season 3. But that's my ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. I will say, I'm once again very curious where they're gonna go with the show. Like, from season 1 to season 2, I fully saw the vision. Season 2 to season 3, I was a little intrigued. They did not go quite where I thought they were going to, although to be fair, how was I supposed to expect they were going to turn, like, the second in command of an Iranian intelligence? But I was intrigued where they were going to go, but I could see, like, a blueprint-ish. I knew Brody was still going to be in the show. The end of season 3 feels like a major shift. Like, the entire status quo has been altered. We're probably never seeing the Brody family again. Our leading male character is dead. My thoughts on that aside, but he's dead. Like, he's not going to be in the show anymore. He was, like, Carrie's main factor in doing things. I feel like the whole vibes are going to shift, and I, for one, am very excited. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment your thoughts on my ranking down below. Let me know how you feel. You can like and subscribe if you want to or don't. I'll be okay either way. And yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!